Welcome to the You Couldn't Tell Me Shit podcast, the audio companion to the ongoing Substack serial, sponsored by Old English 800 Light. You won't believe it's beer because it ain't. It's more liquor, bitch. And by Wendy's Hamburgers. Still wondering where the beef went? Ah, you got your beef right here. You couldn't tell me shit. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian McNeil, and this is actually my first live reading from You Couldn't Tell Me Shit, and posting it by chapter here on Substack. And for my paid subscribers, I decided to do some readings from various chapters. So this is my first reading. This is from chapter 2. So thank you for joining in. And you know what? I'm going to get started and then people can come in as they come in. Let's see. So I'm going to share the screen so you can see what I'm reading from. One moment. Okay, here we go. So we're sharing the screen now. This is from chapter 2, 1980. Don't come here if you ain't from here, part 2. First section is called Baby Pop. One of the jocks stepped to me. This cat was extra large, bigger than a mug and mean mugging me too. Might have even intimidated me a little if he hadn't had this barely hidden sneer. It wasn't the kind that made me uncomfortable though. Not like this one, not like the one this neighbor of mine back in the day used to wear. This cat who got his rocks off throwing rocks at bus windshields. He used to creep me the fuck out. The way he used to hope he'd cause an accident. Nah. This jock joker's snare was laced with amusement, as if he were about to pull a time-honored prank for an expectant audience on an unsuspecting somebody. It was just my dumb luck I happened to be that somebody. I said, how much money you got? He repeated like I wasn't just a chump, but a hard of hearing trump. Who, me? I replied, looking around like he had to be talking to someone else, not the person he was looking directly at. Then, unintentionally, a chuckle erupted from me like a sneeze. I should have been surprised by my outburst, though. I do that sometimes, laugh at the shit in my head. I mean, the idea of my forever broke ass being a target of a robbery deserved a laugh. Compound that with the fact that I grew up in a place where crime was so prevalent it earned the nickname Crooklyn without ever being robbed, mind you. And then, on the very first day I stepped out of Crooklyn on my own, I get mugged by crooks sporting jerseys, jerry curls, and jeans. Tell me that shit is not hilarious. Then something occurred to me. Maybe this was Martin's version of hazing, you know? I mean, I heard from friends that shit like fresh initiations and what have you go on all the time. Merely a traditional way to say, welcome to our neck of the woods. I've seen this kind of shit in flicks like Animal House. The image of Kevin Bacon crying out, thank you, sir. May I have another? As his bare ass was popped into my head, I laughed some more. Maybe this was the football team's way of having fun, raising funds for some new helmets and jock straps and shit. And I was ready to roll with it to an extent. I wasn't about to part with any money, though. Fuck that shit. My laughter began to sputter out. Sorry, my bad, I said. Are you looking for donations or is this a sticker? Homeboy looked like he was counting off the sectors before he tore me a new asshole. I figured him for the ringleader, but only because he was the first to step up. Physically, he looked straight out of central casting for a Disney movie about the hood, all except for the costume. They got that all wrong. His jersey killed the whole look, like Dracula in drag. That image tickled me too. In response to my renewed snickering, his face contorted coldly, reminding me of John Amos as Kansas City Mac in Let's Do It Again, or the looks he used to unleash on Good Times when JJ's Dynamite catchphrase began to fray his nerves. And his gang, they came off to me like backup performers in a black version of Grease, jocks instead of greases. It would have been epic if they broken into song and performed the OJ's For the Love of Money. That image made me laugh yet again. I mean, come on, this shit was rich. You think this shit is funny? Do I look like I'm kidding? He didn't. But this whole scenario was just it was too surreal and goofy for me to feel threatened. I mean, seriously, this was quaint ass Queens with the picket fences and lawn jockeys. Shit. Even his name was sweet. Queens. Refraining from stomp stomp clapping and shouting, "Buddy, you're a big boy, make a big noise playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday." And his face took more restraint than I believed I was capable of. I'm gonna say no, because you ain't cracked a smile yet. I sassed before I could catch myself, thinking, wow, I'm about to get mugged for the first time. Wait, it wasn't the first time. I was mugged once before. I never counted it. It was way back in the summer of 77 during the blackout. It was barely a mugging, though, because the city's power came back on just as the ugliest of that crew of preteen muggers said, all I find, all I keep. And all he found in the pockets of my Levi cutoffs was a dime. They were out of luck. And these Disney jock thugs, they were out of luck too. All I had was a buck, and I'd be damned if I was just going to fork it over. Then, homeboy moved closer to me than anyone should get to anyone they weren't about to go down on, and did so like it was his right. Like some school newsletter had a picture of me with the caption, "Harmless freshman, knows nothing, knows nobody, easy Vic." Is the caption. He even stepped on my $39.99 ponies, though I'd haggled that Delancey Street vendor down to $25, and on my goddamn toe. Ouch, shit, I yelled. He kept it there unnaturally long. The corner of my pinky toe screamed blue murder. It ached like he was wearing cleats. You best cough up whatever you got in your pockets, punk, he barked, deep enough to vibrate the glass panel out of the trophy case and draw every eye in the hall. An audience gathered. Great. Now, nigga, who is this guy? He had to be 6'2", 200 pounds easy, and his brawn stretched his football jersey to the nylon cried out for justice. Even my big bro, Sekou, at his Joe weeded dieselist, would have been dwarfed by this cat. He looked just the same side of Unchained, and I mean just. He had these eyes he could make jut and dart like a boxer, one who just psyched himself up into believing he was indestructible. I'd hate to be facing him on the line of scrimmage. But I gotta tell you, alone in a friendless hallway wasn't much better. If he were putting up a front and was really a sweet guy pretending to be a predator, somebody ought to get him an agent, because he was wasting his talent on a football field. His expression alone would have had casting agents sending Jim Brown and Yaphet Kotto home, gnashing their teeth. Of course, I've seen grills like his and worse in Brooklyn. Some people wore such expressions all day, every day, especially if they done time. Even my mother can conjure such looks at a drop of a hat, so that much wasn't intimidating. His bulk, though, that was enough to make me consider the drawbacks of having my head smashed to a trophy case window on the first day of school. Nobody wants to begin their high school career with brain damage. So I did what I always do whenever I found myself in a shitty predicament with time to think. I wondered, what would Chunga do? As I pondered this, unbidden, a line I heard Sekou brandish on this cat on the Ave before he whipped his ass just popped into my head and sprinted right to my lips. "First off, Betty Pop," I said casually while mean grilling him back, aiming a finger up at his forehead like I packed a pistol and didn't have a care in the world. "You better take some of that bass out of your voice when you talk to me." "What?" he bellowed, probably astounded that I stood up to him. He was likely accustomed to people following his commands without hesitation. Quick as a flash, he grabbed me by my Latigra shirt, contorted all out of shape, fucker, and pinned me against the trophy case. Surprised the glass didn't crack. I should have been terrified, but in the back of my mind, I was like, get the fuck out of here. I'm about to get Maytagged by some corny, off-brand, quaint-ass Queens characters? Really? While I was held immobile and two of the others started patting my pockets, A short, dark-haired, three-piece suited man appeared from behind the hulking jocks, clearing his throat. I recognized him from that morning's orientation assembly as one of the deans. Mr. House, harassing students again, the dean said to my assailant. You're a senior now, man. Don't you think it's about time you grew up, or at least grew out of this nonsense? An expulsion will not look good on your transcript. Trust me. When he saw the dean, Mr. House was all but transformed from a thug with a bloodlust and just a jock in a jersey, like Luther Rigno into the father on the courtship of Eddie's father. Will you please let the young man go? Or would you like me to have a chat with Coach Kenner? Uh, no, sir, Mr. Eisenberg, Mr. House grunted, not intimidated by the dean, but not about to challenge his authority either. He released me, leaving my formerly fresh as hell Integral bunched up and crinkled. I was just fooling around. Yeah, I could see that. Now, you fellas best get to homeroom or wherever you're headed. And you, he turned to me as the football players hastily went about their business. You are? By a Mc... I snapped quickly, without thinking, caught off guard. Then a strange thing happened. I struggled to recall my name for a long ass second. I mean, of course, I knew my name, all three of them. I just didn't know who I was at Martin. That was yet to be determined, I realized. I knew who I was officially, though. Sorry, I mean Kirk McNeil. His eyes squinted for a second, as if he had stumbled upon an imposter working undercover, posing as this Kirk character to expose the truth about the school or some dramatic shit like that. And where's your homeroom, Kirk? In Columbo mode now. I whipped my program out of my back pocket, scanned it, and told him. He still looked unconvinced. He stretched out a hand, waiting to see it for himself, so I handed it to him. I see, he said, nodding. Then he shrugged and handed my program back. Well, young man, I recommend you stay out of Mr. House's way for a while, if you can. He has a terrible temper. Great for smashing quarterbacks, but not so good for you, I'm afraid. And that bass you sassed him about, that was Baby Pop's natural bass, believe it or not. I'd watch my back if I were you. He walked away murmuring, Baby Pop, shaking his head and grinning. I stood there trying to brush the wrinkles out of my shirt. It was the first time I worn it. Bought it on Delancey Street not 2 weeks earlier, the same day I copped the ponies. The left one now had a scuff mark from where House had stepped on it, right on the fucking chevron. Some of it came off with a little spit and tissue, but the rest was stubborn. I have to hit it with a toothbrush later and hope for the best. Shit. The motherfuckers were brand spanking new. That pissed me off more than getting pinned to the trophy case. That and the way some of the students passed by looked at me like my days were already numbered. Fuck all y'all, I wanted to shout. Mostly I was just embarrassed. Punked by black jocks in the hallway on day one and saved by a white dean. I wondered what my teachers at Sasa would make of this. Nonetheless, Eisenberg had also left me with one useful warning, which I thankfully took to heart. It would save my ass more than once. Watch your back. All right. And that completes the reading for today. So I want to thank you for joining. Who we got here? Got a couple of people. So if you have any questions, now's the time. That was really fun. I've always been hesitant to go live because I don't know, just I get nervous. You would think all the public appearances I made, I would get nervous in front of a camera, but I still get nervous in front of a camera. But I think that went well. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Um, I'm going to try to do this on a regular basis. I got some free time. Well, I wouldn't call it free time, but I have some time to do things like this coming up. So I'm going to try to get a few out and get more comfortable in front of the camera. So there'll be quite a number of these pop-up readings in the future. So, please join in. I'm sure the quality will improve as I get more comfortable in front of the camera and talking to people live in this way. But Believe me, as a writer, I prefer to just sit in front of my computer screen and not be bothered with the public. But I think that the type of story I'm working on, this is we say, hey, thanks for doing this. Great to hear it in your voice. Ah, thanks, Amos. Yeah, man. I think that's the only way that I don't think I tried to do it with the AI voices. Oh, that was horrible. I said, no, no, I am not going to let AI try to capture me, capture this story because it can't, but yeah, thank you. Thank you. Um I tried to give it the feeling that I had back in 1980 when this really went down. But yeah, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'll try to keep them short and sweet. All right, so speaking of short and sweet, I guess we'll wrap this up. Thank you very much. For the people who weren't able to catch it live, it will be available on my Substack. So you can check it out at any time that you have 20 minutes to kill. All right, thank you very much. Everyone have a good night, and I hope you enjoy your weekend coming up. And that's it.